Green Bay. It was on my birthday. And during my last tour, I had this video of my grandma, Sue, and her friend Lois Bentley, rest in peace, and my Aunt Mary. And we would go to the casino, and I made this video of just me driving with them. And it was one of my favorite videos I made. Then afterwards, we brought up my Aunt Mary and Lois and my Grandma Sue up on stage. And this was at the Resch Center. And the pop from that audience, like this sound that they made, something I've never made the audience sound like that. And I've been chasing that high. Like, how can I get that a laugh or something that reaches, what Grandma Sue got that night.
Yeah.
So out of jealousy, I've been going after my grandma's laughs ever since then.
Welcome back, friends. Today I traveled to Milwaukee to sit down with the most elusive guest I've ever had on the show. His name has become synonymous with Wisconsin these days from his countless viral videos online, as well as his podcast and his stand-up comedy and more. Welcome to the show, Charlie Berens.
Wow, I like elusive. That's nice.
Dude, you're one of the few people that I've been trying to message for an extended period of time. Like, I got to take a picture of you or with you for our friend Dustin Nickerson. I interviewed him, like a year and a half ago in his hotel room in Appleton. And even him, I was like, so can you get me Charlie? I've been trying to get a hold of Charlie. And he's like, dude, Charlie doesn't respond to my texts.
I'm friends with Charlie. He's Wisconsin Elvis, I always call him.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Put in a good word, dude. He doesn't respond to my DMs. But anyways,
he doesn't respond to my DMs either.
That's bullshit. Let me see the last time he texted me, because I bet you Dustin didn't get back to my last text. Hang on. He sent me America's drunkest and driest counties based on excessive drinking, and it's a map of Wisconsin, and he said, incredible work. And I said, thanks, man. We do try, and it's nice to be recognized. And that was our last correspondence. So I have to say it. I've gotten back to Dustin, but that's okay. I didn't realize you were trying to get a hold for so long.
Well, the thing is, I'm sure you have somebody like filter messages, but these days in Instagram, I think to like protect people from being berated, you can only send one message to most people. Like the platform is like, you can't send a follow up, and I'm like, well,
interesting.
Oh well,
yeah, and I don't check
all of your messages.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
Just
don't. Yeah,
we made it happen.
We did, and that's nice.
Yeah, and this is my third time in here. I've actually been in the studio. Yeah, because I interviewed Billy in here like a year ago, maybe, and then Greg Lutzka. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, the pro skateboarder from Milwaukee.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he came in here and I interviewed him in this spot too.
Oh, that's cool. Well, see, so much goes out of my radar. I think maybe I just travel too much. Sometimes when you're find yourself on the road a little bit, time just kind of becomes a warp, Yeah,
I am sure. Okay, so I usually start the show in the same way. In your own words.
I already screwed it up.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. In your own words, who are you and what are you passionate about?
My name is Charlie Berens, and I am passionate about, making people laugh and also just like have the best life that they can have, just seeing sort of like the truth around them and just enjoying it, or changing it or whatever.
When you got started in all this stuff, and we won't have to go through your whole story of going to LA and doing all that, but was it from the beginning you specifically wanted to do comedy, or was it journalism was really what your passion was at the time?
Yeah, I think originally, back in high school, I wanted to do music, that was, I think I wanted to be a musician, or I really, at the base of it, it's always been writing, really.
Okay.
I've always wanted to write in some capacity, and so sometimes that took the form of like writing songs, and then took the form in journalism, of journalism, and then sort of comedy from that. There's a lot of similarities between comedy and journalism, and one of them is just like saying things as simply as possible, kind of less words.
Yeah.
The least amount of words you need to say a joke or to do it, it's just the funnier it is.
Sure.
And so in journalism too, and the least amount of words you need to like get the facts across, that's kind of what you're after.
Of all the like interviews and essays and stuff you must have had to write, throughout your earlier life, which one do you think was the best? Do you have one that you're like, I did a great job with that news story?
Oh, I did one on what I did one when I was in Texas on like the cost of water, you know, because if you think of water, it's we all need it, you know, and yet in Texas during that time there was like a drought, and yet you would see all these like fountains, you know, you would see everyone watering their lawns or whatever. So it's like, what are we paying for water? You know, what is the cost? And then what's the cost down the line if this messes with the aquifers long term? You know?
Was that happening the same time they did the King of the Hill water shortage episode where he was selling toilets? Do you remember that?
I don't actually. I don't. But that would have been great.
Hank wasn't allowed to water his lawn, and it crushed his soul.
Goodbye, toilets. Thanks for everything.
New low-flow toilets. Boy, this is exciting.
That's funny. No, I wish I would have. I wish I would have seen that. I would have incorporated that into the piece, because at the time we were doing like kind of a mix between comedy and news, you know. So it had like some kind of comedic elements.
Was that your first job there where you were having anything like comedy related? Because I know a lot of your earlier work and things you were trying to do out in LA weren't specifically comedy, right? It was just like acting and whatever you could get in with.
Yeah, I mean, I started off working with like MTV, their Choose or Lose campaign way back in 2008. That was sort of like journalism and entertainment, kind of when they combined a little bit.
But not comedy at all, right?
No, not comedy. Comedy first came in when I was doing this thing called 1 Minute News, which was a new YouTube news organization. YouTube. That's what it is. YouTube news organization based out of Greenville, South Carolina. And we were just kind of doing short form news. And we were then adding punchlines to it, you know? So it was like headline, punchline, and then I came up with this website with some friends of mine called Headlines That Suck, which is just odd. But it honestly was the beginnings of the format for the Manitowoc Minute.
Yeah, the precursor.
Yeah, because it's just headline, punchline. But that just gets you in the rhythm of writing, sort of comedically.
Were you finding all of those Craigslist ads and everything that was in the Manitowoc Minutes? Were you the one who was digging through and finding them, or did you have all of your friends kind of always on the lookout for them?
Well, so it was mostly me, yeah. But the nice thing about the Manitowoc Minute is like,
okay, welcome to the Manitowoc Minute.
It took on a life of its own in the sense that I would go through my messages, and I would reply as much as I could, and people would send me stories. They would send me things they found on Craigslist. So, you know, I was lucky that the people ended up building a lot of the Manitowoc Minutes.
Which one do you think was the funniest thing you saw on Craigslist that somebody sent you, that when you got the message, you were like, no way?
Oh, my gosh. I remember someone was selling a moon rock. And I reached out to try and get it, but they said that something I believed. I don't think they said I wasn't worthy of it. I think because I was like trying to talk them down.
Oh, you know? No low balls on this moon rock.
I know, because they were asking $5,000 for it, and
sure.
I think I said, does it have paperwork? And they said it doesn't, and I said, okay, could you do like $500, you know? And that was just too low.
Oh no.
You know, and maybe that was insulting, you know, but like, I mean, I can't take a $5,000 gamble on what might not be.
Had you ever seen a moon rock at that point in time? Had you ever been down to NASA? Because I've seen them.
Where NASA has a lot of moon rocks.
Yeah.
That's
in Florida,
cool.
They have a bunch of, like, where they have all of the spacesuits and stuff that have been up that they keep in their museum. They have some space rocks there.
Yeah. I knew
touch
that.
them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I knew that those existed. I just didn't have a lot of confidence in my eye for it, you know? So in retrospect, now I'm saying this before, that was kind of a rude thing, you know?
Yeah, you didn't have all the stories.
I should have found a moon rock expert to come with me in picking that out. But no, there were a lot of weird things, man. That's a good question. I used to be a bike mechanic, and so I like looking at bikes and stuff. And this one guy had a bong that he made out of a bike frame, so that That was fun. Which actually that's a common thing in any bike shop. And in I want to say almost every bike shop you walk into, someone has
a bong made from a bike.
A bike frame, yeah. You just take off the bottom. Well, I won't explain it.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so the Manitowoc Minute, you obviously blew up for that, but there's a lot of comedians that have crushed in the news space from doing kind of like comedic, talking about real news, but in like a different way.
Can I drink this?
Yeah, totally.
You sure? Is this like your own? That's not.
I have more of them.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Russ sent me a bunch of them, or someone with Russ's team sent me a bunch of them.
Oh, it's fuzzy too. Nice.
Which of all the comedians that have had their own daily news shows, which one's your favorite?
Oh man, I started off. Let's see here. I always liked early on. I started watching this stuff in college, like Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, the Colbert Report.
Yeah,
where he would like take on a character, and he did that really well. And I remember I was in South Carolina working, and Stephen Colbert was traveling around with Herman Cain.
Okay.
And it was the Rock Me Like a Herman Cain tour, and they had a bus that said it and everything. That was... I just liked how far Colbert took his character. Yeah. And he would never break character, or rarely break character. And I just really liked that mixing of the news and really taking on, like, if you can mirror something, you can just have so much fun with it,
Yeah, I love that there's no rules for them in this stage of media, that they're the only ones that don't have to censor themselves. Or, well, I mean, there's a lot of cases of them trying to be censored. But I love that comedians, including yourself, have been standing up for the things that they believe in and still putting it in a comedic way, but using their voice for things that not everybody wants to be out there, such as the AI and everything else, or everything that happened with Jimmy Kimmel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit earlier. Me and you, not that I'm like the same age as you, but we're pretty close. We grew up before YouTube was like huge.
Yeah.
What are your earliest memories even of YouTube? Because mine was in middle school. I remember being at DeLong Middle School in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and seeing the dumbest things ever, like the badger, snake. Video and the Charlie, or no, was it Candy Mountain Charlie? Like those are my earliest memories.
On to Candy Mountain, Charlie.
Yeah.
Come on, Charlie.
Candy Mountain, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie. We're going to Candy Mountain.
That might... what year did YouTube come out? 07?
I think it was earlier than that. I think it was like 2003. Yeah, I could be wrong. Because I guess what I'm getting at is, like, you've built a career not exclusively on YouTube, but when we were growing up, that wasn't a thing at all. There weren't YouTube channels.
No. Yeah. And I can't say I got a good recollection of my first. I'm 38, so like. So much of those early years of my life, I didn't spend on technology at all. Like, I had a flip phone until I had a flip phone up until I was like 22.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 35, so I think I got my first phone with texting when I was 19, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I was texting like to get an L.
Numbers. Yeah.
If I want to text LOL, it took me like 9 pushes of them. 9 button pushes, which honestly I'm fine with, because I guess it's sort of a...
Messages would be more meaningful if you had to take that much time.
I think
to
so.
think about which words you put.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. You would, and we'd spend a lot less time looking at it. You know, because you got to get what you got to get out, and then you're done.
When you hang out with your friends personally, do you guys have the rule of put your phone face down? Or does everybody know that too much of their career hinges on communication, that everyone's just like glued to their phone?
I don't know. I don't think there is a hard set rule. I mean, I feel like I've always wanted to just get like a thing there, and just like, so it's clear your phone's best as a coaster, That's like the best thing for it.
Sure.
No, I think just the least amount of time you can spend. Of course, everyone's got like something going on where they feel like they've got to like look at it, but so many times we pick it up just reflexively, because that's how they designed them. They designed them for us to pick them up all the time. They sort of hacked like our dopamine pathway in our brain to make us do that. So, you almost have to go out of your way to break that.
I just went all the way to Washington to specifically not have any phone service in the rainforest because I'm like, I don't want to look at my phone for a few days. What does it take for you to fully like check out, not check any phones or emails or anything? Do you go camping once a month for one day and go 24 hours? I'm not doing it. Do you do the Aaron Rodgers thing where you go into a hole in the ground or something? Or
I just went with my buddy out Colorado. I went out elk hunting. Or I guess I'll say it elk hiking. Because that way I won't be a failure. But that was nice because, we were just out in the woods for, a week. And for the most part, there wasn't service. And I'll tell you this much, every time there wasn't service, it was a relief.
Yeah.
But if I knew there was a place where it was service, it's like, I'm weak. I'm weak. I'm going to check the thing because you're so much hinges on it. So when you can be in a place where you can't do that, that's real nice.
Is the biggest challenge at this point in your career just keeping a balance that keeps your mental health in a good place because of all the opportunities and things that come about your way? I feel like a lot of people I meet, the work-life balance is something a lot of people really struggle with.
Yeah, it's definitely a struggle. Because there's the idea of you strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
And if the iron's not hot, then you're like, oh, I got to get this iron hot. And then when it's hot, you're like, strike the iron while it's hot.
Yeah.
So what happens, when's a point where you can be confident that's going to stay hot and you don't need to strike it because it's going to stay hot.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, it can be somewhat complicated, And then, of course, you can... you can drive yourself crazy over any number of things,
Yeah, by adding like 15 different things that you do, such as the Belly Dub podcast, such as the Cripes cast, such as your stand-up, and then all of your skits. And of all the things that you do, if you had to just like for the next year, shut off the other ones and just do one, what would it be?
Well, it all started with stand-up, so it'd probably be stand-up. I think stand-up is like the most real, I think, form of comedy, and I love that you can get everyone into a room, and the clubs all say you're not allowed to pick up your phones.
Yeah.
And so to get people into that like very human experience and to just get real-time feedback on if something's funny or not. Yeah, I would say stand-up.
What is the most memorable stand-up experience that you've ever had? Because, you did it at the NFL draft. You've done it. I saw you perform it in Eau Claire, which is cool, at the Pablo Center. You performed everywhere at this point, but, like, which one is the most memorable for you?
It would have been Green Bay. It was on my birthday. And during my last tour, I had this video of my grandma, Sue, and her friend Lois Bentley, rest in peace, and my Aunt Mary. And we would go to the casino, and I made this video of just me driving with them.
She has a boyfriend.
Mary's got a boyfriend?
Yes, his name is Matt.
Shut up. And it was one of my favorite videos I made. Then afterwards, we brought up my Aunt Mary and Lois and my Grandma Sue up on stage. And this was at the Resch Center. And the pop from that audience, like this sound that they made, something I've never made the audience sound like that. And I've been chasing that high. Like, how can I get that a laugh or something that reaches, what Grandma Sue got that night.
Yeah.
So out of jealousy, I've been going after my grandma's laughs ever since then. But no, that was an incredible moment. And it was really cool to see them, enjoy that and everything.
Yeah, to be able to involve them is something I'm sure years ago you hadn't really considered that this was going to be a possibility to bring them in that kind of way.
Well, they're funny. They're so funny. And I mean, I think that's the thing with my bit. I don't think I'm that funny. I think I am, I tell Bill this all the time. I think Bill's way funnier than I am. But
Bill's very funny.
He's obvious. Yeah, he's funnier than But it's not even about like that. But I'm like, I can pick out what's funny, and like, you know, like my family is hilarious, and I'm just glad I was able to capture it, you know. And yeah, because like the realness, like there's so many moments you never catch on camera, and when you're in this business, you're like, oh, that would have been great if I could have cut. But to go on go to the casino the number of times we've gone, and to film them, and you get like those sort of real moments, and I like it just because it's like we all have that in us, you know, and it's like we can find the greatest joys of our life just by spending time with people around us, you know. You don't even have to chase it, it's there. We just got to be present enough to like look for it. You know, minus the fact that I obviously have a camera up between, but you'd be quick. It's funny how quickly my grandma Sue either doesn't know or doesn't care there's a camera there. There's a lot of stuff I have cut out, you know. Let me just put it that way.
You got to have a Patreon page exclusively for all the Grandma Sues. So I know that you had spent a bunch of time in LA at some point sleeping in your shotgunned van, as in a van that had shotgun holes. And the people who succeed are the ones who just keep pushing through when things do get really hard. And I know you did some very odd jobs, such as underwear modeling. But if you had to pick, what was the lowest part? What was it, the point during that time frame that you were closest to saying, you know what, this just isn't going to happen, I'm going to go home?
Yeah, that's a good, you know, when you got very, like, I think when I got to Los Angeles, I was driving that minivan that I shot. But I had more money in that gas tank, you know, than I had in my bank account. And I think when you're in that position, what do you have to lose, really? And I had friends, and I was never at a point of, you know, of being in. Yeah, I had a job when the job was making like $100 a day or whatever, can bring in rent, but like, that's a good question. I don't know that I ever got to a point of where I was close to giving up. I was always maybe hedging a little bit, maybe like, okay, so maybe I can't be an actor, but maybe I can produce, you know? And I think I think the closest I came to giving up was just hedging down, you know, and because you know, you go from wanting to be whatever. Yeah, I think because writing was really at the heart of what I wanted to do. I just kept trying to do it, you know.
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah, I just don't think I thought about because I was able to work. I was always able to work jobs, random jobs. I always knew I could go back to like being a bike mechanic or you know, I mean, growing up we would do like a lot of renovation stuff, you know, with my dad, like home construction stuff, so I could always do that kind of thing. Not that I was ever really great at any of these, but I could always make money. And if you can make money, well, then you can keep doing what you want to do just in your free time.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the big part of that is just keeping your overhead down so that way you can afford to do that, right?
Yeah.
That you can get by off of not much income. A lot of people get into their careers and stuff, and then they have these passion projects they start to build up, but now they already have their mortgage and their car payments and all of that, and it's a lot harder at that point, I think, to then go chase something because the income that they're getting from their job, they can't take a pay cut to be able to do that.
Right. Yeah. Once you get comfortable with something. And I also got to say, I mean, I had so much help along the way. Like, even though I got that minivan from my dad, he, cause I shot it, you know, he helped me out. I don't think I paid him all up front. Sure. I didn't, you know, for it. And my buddy let me, you know, I slept in his closet, but I didn't pay for that. And he let me sleep on his couch too. And, so I had help. So it's not like I did this all on my own, but I think you look out for that. And when you know you have help and you have people that like love you and can support you, you know, that helps a lot. That helps get you
Did you have other friends at that time that were also kind of chasing different things, whether it was comedy or things in entertainment, where you're like, well, if they're going to keep doing it and they're making their dreams come true, then it must be possible for me as well?
Yeah, I mean, I knew people. I knew some people, some friends from college that were trying. No one was really successful at it, but we were trying. We were having fun trying. And, little victories are big victories. Little wins are big wins. And mostly we were just having fun. I mean, it was a nice... You look back at everything more fondly than it is, I mean, there were struggles, I guess. But, it seems exciting.
What was the first, light that happened where you're like, oh, this actually could be possible? Because, you were talking about small wins, right? You have all of these ones. And at the time, you're like, it gives you that hope. Maybe this is it. What was the first one you can recall?
Yeah, I mean, when I first moved out to Los Angeles, I was because I had the minivan, I was able to take stuff to film sets, so they didn't have to rent a car or a truck, and so I would bring all the equipment back, and I was shooting, setting up cameras and lights to shoot my reel, and I applied for that job in South Carolina, and I got it. From just basically writing a fake script, pretending like I was hosting an actual show and shooting it. Sure. It was a crazy vision that I thought, but if I could just put it on a reel, well, then someone might think this is an actual real show. So I was like, I'm just going to write this show that doesn't exist. I think it was called News on the Rocks.
Okay.
And so I just invented a show, put it on a reel, because, YouTube was taking off. So I was like, it could be a show. Who knows? And so it worked, and they called me in for an audition. I got the job. I mean, that gave me a lot of hope.
Did you ever post that on your own personal YouTube channel, or when was it that you even decided maybe I'll just make my own? Was it before the Manitowoc Minute that you were making other things? Or
yeah, because I had worked in news before that, so I had a variety. When you're in news at that point in the mid 2010s or whenever that was, 2014, 2015, you're always putting stuff on your channel as kind of like a reel or something like that.
Doesn't the news station own the rights to that stuff though?
Yeah, but they didn't really. I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I mean, there's always these contracts, and I didn't think I ever signed a contract. I mean, I wasn't making that much money,
Sure.
And I was not really I don't remember what I signed, or if I signed anything, or if they even cared. I mean, they didn't care at that point. They didn't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember that being an issue, but it's not like I was really going full force with it either.
Yeah, but you interviewed Harry Potter.
Who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl? Because I know you're a huge football fan.
I would love Carolina to win the Super Bowl.
Carolina, part of that parent company or whatever. This was another kind of brand, and so we went to Sundance Film Festival, and then you kind of have a junket kind of circuit where you're sitting in this room, and these guys Harry Potter and everyone else, they kind of go from room to room to room.
Sure.
And then you can ask them. So that's the fun thing about being at those film festivals. But once the press has something, they can put it up. Sure. That's kind of how that stuff sort of works.
So your YouTube channel was then kind of building, but I'm assuming it wasn't taking off at all until the Manitowoc Minute video really, really hit. Did your stand-up comedy was it pretty much within a couple weeks all of a sudden you could sell out way bigger venues and stuff after the Manitowoc Minute? Or how quickly was that turnaround where that started to generate ticket sales? Yeah,
so I just said I'm going to put out a video a week until something takes off, and nothing really took off, but then the Manitowoc Minute took off. I was like, sweet, I'm going to double down on this. And I would say that was in June of 2017, and by July of 2017 or August of 2017, we had an interview. What's up, fellas? We had an interview, not an interview, a request from, I think, Turner Hall in Milwaukee for me to do a show.
Okay.
And
it's one of the bigger venues, is it not?
It's a good it's about 600 cap, I think. And I'm not sure if that was the first one or not. Maybe it was one way up in the UP in Ironwood. One of them reached out. And then I was like, I was terrified. I was like, because at that time I only had 12 minutes of stand-up. And but anyway, I said yes, and so I had 2 months to come up with a good show, at least an hour long, and so I just busted and tried to do as much as I could, and yeah, I mean, it was pretty wild. But I built that. I cheated a little bit. I did like Keynote,
Okay.
so it's a bit of PowerPoint presentation. So I had different sections. I built like a variety show.
Okay.
Because I knew if I did straight stand up, I didn't have the chops yet. I knew that I had done stand up enough to know that I wasn't a stand up yet. Yeah. But I was able to like make these different sections and add video elements and all of that to the show, to make it like a variety show. And that actually worked well because my audience wasn't used to seeing stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
And I wasn't used to being a stand-up comedian. So it allowed me to incorporate the things that my audience liked in the Manitowoc Minute into like a full-on show.
How long did it take you to get past the imposter syndrome of like, because I'm getting all this attention online, it's turning into ticket sales, but all these other stand-up comedians went the other route where they just did stand-up and built themselves up like that.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden you're selling out bigger venues, but you have less experience than these stand-up comedians who are purely stand-up comedians that I'm sure you're looking at like, well, they're better than me, but I'm selling out bigger ones. I'm sure there must have been some imposter syndrome there, at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I think there still is. I think it always... is there a little bit like, oh, I mean, every time this humbling thing with stand-up comedy, after every tour, you're like, okay, I wrote that. Do I have more in me?
Yeah.
Like, do I have more to say? Is it good? Is it meaningful? So, and I think it's okay to have that because I think it pushes you to, to just kind of keep writing.
So when do you feel comfortable filming the special then? Because once the special's out, you kind of feel like you can't repeat that much material anymore, right?
Yeah, you don't really want to repeat it once it's out. But you feel comfortable. I mean, you do it enough, and then you just got to throw a date on the calendar because you got to book it, six months out, maybe more. And then you just really like buckle down and work toward that, and then when it's done, it's done.
You're the type of person that when you have a goal, but if you don't have a goal, you're not going to get there. You're very goal oriented, I guess.
Maybe deadline oriented.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of will invent a deadline sometimes if I don't have one to,
trick your mind into doing it.
You just got to get it done. I think perfection is sometimes the sort of the enemy of creation in a lot of ways. So a lot of what I've put out there is not perfect, but I think it's I'm proud of I'm not gonna say everything.
Sure.
Some things I think maybe weren't that great, but
a lot of times that stuff happens that you put in. I know I listened to other interviews with you where you're like, you put the side-by-side screen thing in the Manitowoc Minute.
Oh my gosh.
And people love that. And that wasn't something you even put much thought into, right? Like you don't always know what's going to work.
Yeah. No, that side-by-side, it was an accident at first because I would think it was an accident, and then I was watching it back. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But it really made the piece move quicker because the Manitowoc Minute was very fast, and it was fast largely due to a lack of confidence that it was funny.
Sure.
So, I mean, the quicker, sometimes I can make sometimes a quick edit. It's different now because the attention spans are so short. You kind of got to get people right away, and maybe a fast edit is the way to do it. But back then, I think it was just fast because I didn't know that it was that funny, and I didn't want it to linger too long.
Sure. Are you ever going to bring that back as something you do consistently, the Manitowoc Minute? Because you don't post them often anymore at this point.
No, I don't post them as often. I would like to. It does take. It takes a lot of time and of doing it, and you kind of have to sort out where you spend your time. And right now, most of my time is being spent on stand up and getting this new tour right, and then sketches and all that sort of stuff. But we have done some things in the Manitowoc Minute realm recently, and we'll probably keep. There will be more to come, but will I get back to a point of doing them every week? I don't know. I mean, in an ideal world, I would like to. It's just like finding all the headlines and everything and the Craigslist kickers and all that. That's a lot of stuff you do every week, and then after it doesn't have a very long shelf life once it's on there. So I would like to, but I'm not there yet.
No, you're busy doing podcasts with me. So thank you so much for giving me that time.
No, of
are
course.
there any jobs out there that if the opportunity came up, you would be willing to set aside all your other things? Say like when Jimmy Kimmel got canceled, if all of a sudden they were like, Charlie Berens, you're next up for this show and you're going to be on every day and it's going to take up all your time. Would you take a job like that, or what job would have to come up?
I don't know, because stand up is that's
true love.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good thing, and certainly it depends. Wherever you go, you're going to have bosses, and whatever I want to create, I can create, which is certainly a blessing of and one of the upsides of like all the social media stuff is that it really gives anybody who wants it a platform to create, which is cool. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, there could be something, but nothing comes to mind right now.
But something did just come up that is a small thing. You did a voice acting thing, right? In a cartoon or something?
Oh, yeah,
that's coming
yeah.
up? Tell me about that, because I'm about to interview a couple of voice actors that are coming through Minneapolis in 2 weeks for Twin Cities Con. I've always been interested in this because I would love to just, in a side character, have one line in one TV show one time.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. How did that come up, and what was the experience like doing that?
Well, one of my first gigs outside after college was I was a PA on this film called Cedar Rapids, which is written by a fellow named Phil Johnston. Phil's from Neenah, Wisconsin. And Phil wrote Wreck-It Ralph and a bunch of other stuff after that. And so this movie, The Twits, on Netflix, you give it a watch, but he had a character that he thought I'd be good for. So we had kept in touch after, being two Wisconsin guys or whatever. And he just asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, oh, that'd be awesome. So
was that the first time that you ever did any voice acting work?
Yeah, I don't know. I've done, I think the first one in a movie. I feel like I've done something else, but I can't really remember it. So.
Okay, if you could take over and re-record, you got to push yourself in that place, and you could be any character from any movie growing up, any animated movie at all, but you got to be the voice actor for it. Who would you be?
Oh, man. I don't know. That's tough to say because I'm thinking about the characters that I love the most, and I'm like, but they wouldn't be that character without. You remember the movie Fievel Goes West?
Yeah,
probably something that probably like the cat in that or something. But I want to have a good voice, Do
you remember that one that was a rooster that like played rock and roll and he was going to Vegas? You know what I'm talking about? Rock-a-doodle-doo, I think it was called.
Oh no. I think when did that come out?
We would have been pretty little.
I feel like I remember seeing like a commercial for that. Maybe it's on like I see it on the VHS before another movie I had,
That's who I want to be. Okay, I want to ask you about podcast stuff because you're doing multiple podcasts, but you started the Cripes Cast a similar time frame that I started this, because I started this like 6-ish years ago.
Okay.
Who's somebody that you haven't been able to get a hold of for your show? Because there's like Limitless, and you've had a lot of really cool people, which actually is how I've discovered a bunch of really cool friends of mine, including Billy, was because you interviewed them, and I'm like, I should reach out to them. So I had
nice.
Zane Stotts on the show, which I got to thank you for this one. The only reason I knew who Zane Stotts was because of you. I connected with him, interviewed him. He did a custom pair of shoes for Trevor Newland, who's the actor that played the Xenomorph in the last Alien movie, wore the outfit.
Yeah.
So I got connected to Trevor, and then I interviewed Trevor at Zane's house when he came back for the draft.
Oh, no kidding.
And I'm a huge Alien fan, so that was like
that's
awesome. One of my favorite interviews ever, and that was inadvertently because of you. But yeah, who's somebody that you've always wanted to be able to interview that you haven't yet?
I don't know. Even somebody like it's weird because the people I'd want to talk to, you almost want to talk to like not even in a podcast situation.
Okay.
And you figure out how they really are when like there's not a bunch of like cameras going or mics going.
But one of the best parts about interviewing people, at least like with me, because I do them all in person, is I get to spend a lot of time with people when they're not on the mic, before and after.
Yeah,
so you still
true.
get to have that experience.
That's true. You know what? I think maybe it'd be cool to talk to Aaron Rodgers. Like, I never got to talk to him when he was here.
Yeah.
You know, or like Bob Uecker is another one that I would say Bob Uecker. We tried to get him on the podcast. Sure. I had met him. I got lucky enough to meet him. And because we were doing this like refueling thing with the airborne division, we went on a refueling mission with the guys down in Milwaukee, and so he was on that plane, that cargo plane with me, and I mean, he was with his people. I was with I was chilling with Bango off to the side, but I just said, hey, I'm a fan, just met him, so that was really cool. But it would have been great to kind of get him on the podcast, because sort of what he brought to broadcasting, and he was like a celebrity for broadcasting before that was really even a thing, and to just see his history with Milwaukee and just see Milwaukee through his eyes would have been really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it shows just with like how the Brewers had their whole like remembrance thing for him after he had passed. Like, people in Milwaukee loved that man. I pick up little tidbits of knowledge doing the show, interviewing other people all the time. What is one thing that you learned from interviewing somebody else that stuck with you to this day?
Just give them silence, and they'll fill it. And yeah, you'll be interested in what you hear. Don't do it to me, though.
No, I mean, I think, as a good interviewer, you have to figure out, where do I jump in and help guide them? And where am I just like talking over them and interrupting, which you got to try not to do. But for yourself, though, besides being a better interviewer, what is something that you learned from somebody else outside of interviewing that just helped you with your life? As an example, I interviewed this dude, Wayne Hoffman. He changed my life. I love that man. Wayne's the best. I've hung out with him a bunch of times outside of the show. He's a magician. He's a mind reader from Florida, basically. And I was talking about my show with him and saying like, I can't wait till my show's blah, blah, blah. And he was like, no. You have the best show and the biggest show in the world, and anybody you interview is lucky to be on your show. And I was like, my show is not that big. And he's like, not if you don't think it is. You need to, here's how you time travel. Start just being the person you expect to be in 2 years from now. Just be that person right now and carry yourself that way. And that is how you will get to that point. And by doing that, it has changed a lot of things in my life.
Yeah, that's really great advice, because it just gives you that confidence, whether it's deserved or not. But it's almost like if you're acting like you're in the movie about your life, and it's going to turn out okay, and so you're acting like in the earlier thing. I mean, that's exactly what he's saying. But it also allows you to have maybe some more fun with it. You know?
For sure.
That's great advice. Let's see here. Who have I learned something from? I mean, I've learned something from, Pam Yankee. She's the fabulous farm babe. Okay. She's got a radio show that she hosts for farmers outside of Madison. And she's big in the farming community, but, she just, like, I'm not even sure that it's something that she specifically said, but just her energy around, like, helping people out wherever she can, and sort of that farmer mentality, I think is something that's so ingrained into Wisconsin culture that you see in so many other of your friends that are farmers, or especially farmers for some reason. But it's just this idea that I can do it. Hard work is going to get me through it, and it's just such a genuine care for other people at the same time. Yeah, and again, that's something that I'm not sure was explicitly said in any way, shape, or form, but it just sort of came out in all the things she said. Sure. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like jumping around a little bit here, but that's because you've told your like story arc before, and so I want to ask different things.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most embarrassing moment you've ever had on stage? Recently, I interviewed a keynote speaker, and he said every person who speaks on stage is lying if they have not admitted that they have farted on stage and the camera picked it up.
Farted on stage?
Yeah, he said
Nice.
everyone does. So I'm just curious, what's your most embarrassing moment that you can recall on stage?
The first time I did stand-up comedy, I wrote like a five-minute bit. I thought I was going to crush. I thought I was so good. I went up there. I did the whole bit. Didn't get one laugh. Well, it did get one laugh, and the one laugh it got was the thing that I improvised about how bad my set was. And I mean, I was so embarrassed doing that I didn't go on stage for 6 more months.
Whoa.
You know, so yeah, I think if it's going to keep me off stage for 6 months, that's a pretty good indicator.
Do you have any superstitions or any things that you do before you go on stage other than like running through that experience in your mind and saying, I'm not going to do that again?
Yeah, I do like kind of a breathing exercise.
Wim Hof, the legend.
Yeah, I've done that.
Do you do the advanced one or do you do the beginner where it's like 30, 60, 90 seconds?
What's the advanced one? I usually do the beginner one.
I think it's just longer time frames. Like you got to hold your breath for a lot longer.
Yeah, I'll go longer and I'll do like push-ups during it just because I get a cheap high off of it. But it really,
yourself.
Yeah, I mean, but the idea of holding your breath and breath work, generally speaking, at the, you know, and not to sound like a hippie, but it like works basically. It's you know, outside of chemicals, it's a pretty good way to like just center yourself. Because with stand-up, you just want to be in the moment. You don't want to be thinking about your whole set. You want to be connecting with the people right in front of you. And so, you know, whatever you can do to just get in the moment is a good thing.
My first experience with that was I was actually in Madison. Daniel Donato, this guitarist, he's got a band called Cosmic Country. I interviewed him backstage, and then afterwards he's like, oh, you should hang out and stick around. And right before they went on stage, he's like, you want to do our little routine with us?
Yeah.
And I was like, sure. So I sat down and they just turned off all the lights and closed the doors, and there was no windows, so it was just pitch black. And then we did the Wim Hof thing all together, all like 8 of us. And it was such a cool experience that I definitely continued to do it after that.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, that's real cool. I mean, I've never done it with that many people.
Yeah,
with like a couple people before, I think. Yeah, but yeah, it's wild. I mean, it gives you a little zip. You know, it just puts you in there.
What's the funniest pre-show routine you've seen somebody else do? Because I've been backstage with a lot of people seeing them do goofy things.
Oh yeah, it's probably Bill when I'm doing the Wim Hof thing. What he does to me while my eyes are closed and I'm breathing, and I've got a collection of pictures of him doing all sorts of things to me.
What's the funniest one? You got to pick one.
I don't think
well, I
can
guess you don't
say
have
that
to
on
pick
camera.
One. Okay.
Yeah, but
he's too inappropriate.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm sure this is one I feel like you at some point you have to stop collecting items because you end up picking up things. Like I started getting way too many things. I had to resist getting myself a Brewers jersey when I interviewed a Brewers player recently because I'm like, well, I should have a signed jersey of this. And then I think about it, I'm like, I have so many things I've collected. What's your favorite individual item you've collected through your career that happened because of your career? Like a jersey you had to wear or something for the Packers, something or whatever. I'm sure you've collected a lot of random things.
Yeah. I honestly, I think it's probably either my Leroy Butler jersey or my Gilbert Brown jersey, because I mean those guys, I'm 38 years old, so I grew up the 96 Packers.
Me too.
I mean that was a huge. I got Reggie White on my Packers locker. You know, it's kind of okay. So like that team just means a lot to me, and so they each like gave me their jersey and signed their jersey. Is like that's like a piece of your childhood. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool.
And you got to interview both of them, right?
Yeah,
they were both guests on your show.
Yeah, and I'm friends with both of them, which is kind of that's always crazy to think about, you know. But I've been friends with Leroy since 2020 when we went fishing. Or he invited me on his show, in fact, his radio show, and then we become friends ever since. And
oh wow, I think about it. You owe Hansel Kennedy a fishing trip.
Oh yeah,
I interviewed him and I asked him if you took him fishing. He said no, and he called you out on the show saying, "Charlie, I want to go fishing. Did Charlie Berens take you fishing? Did that actually happen?
No.
Whack, Charlie.
Well, what the hell? I gotta put that down on my thing.
Go get another haircut.
Yeah, I know.
Take him fishing.
I got to write that down because I did ask him that, and but hey, I didn't. I'm putting that down on my to-do list. We gotta go out. Hands-on fishing. Yeah, I haven't forgotten. I just haven't done it yet. So, no, I do have to do that. Did he say what kind of fishing you wanted to go do?
He didn't say. I just brought it up because anytime I interview people, I try to watch as any other interviews I can find of them. And because we're in the same space, I've watched a lot of your interviews of people that then I go and interview.
Yeah.
So that's happened on a number of occasions, including that one.
Yeah.
What was the last time that you were nervous for an interview, whether it was somebody interviewing you for a various like TV appearance or something, or you interviewing somebody yourself?
Ooh. I think I would get nervous. You get a little bit nervous, but I was just on the show in Chicago. Yeah, and they've got a really popular morning show down there. I was on there with my buddy Miles.
Every time I've come on here, Miles, I've ragged on the Bears, and you should see my DMs afterwards.
And I remember and I've been on that show before, but I remember just thinking going on like, oh, I'm feeling like it was a different kind of interview, you know, like Miles was there and me, so it's kind of it's the one I hadn't done before. I just found myself being nervous. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. But nervous is good. You know, nervous is kind of like an excitement that sort of just doesn't know what to do with itself, you know? So I think sometimes when you start thinking that, you just got to come back to taking it one moment at a time, one joke at a time, whatever, and just go from there. But, you know, anytime you're doing live TV, you're kind of like, you're like, oh, I could do anything here, you know? It's like driving a car. You're like, do I drive it off the bridge? You know, like, do I
get that
turn the
feeling when
steering
you
wheel?
go to a bridge or something where you're like, I got to jump? Not going to jump. But do you get that feeling as well?
Yeah, well, that's
okay.
sort of what I would compare it to, you know? But, I mean, I feel like everybody's got those things of like anything could happen.
Yeah,
you know?
but I think, honestly, it just makes you more relatable anyways when you're in a moment like that because you are more on your toes. Otherwise, what I see a lot of people do, and even with my own interviews with them, is if I'm not careful about what questions I ask, they're like, brain's triggered, I've been asked this before, and they just like go about their business, you know, regurgitating the same thing they've said a bunch of times. And then there's no energy in their voice. They're just like dead because they're not paying attention. You know what I'm saying? They're just like rambling, saying the same thing they've said 50 other times.
Yeah, no, I get that. I've done that too.
What is your favorite, and I guess it could be from this draft, what's your favorite Packers memory of all time?
I think it was when I was first starting the Manitowoc Minute, and I got to go on the Lambeau Field, take my dad out there too, you know, because you could just feel like all the F-ups you've done in your life, they just get erased in that moment, you know. No, but that was pretty cool, taking, you know, my dad down on the field, down on Lambeau Field, because, I mean, how do you get that opportunity?
Was that like mid-game, or what was the scenario?
No, it's just before the game.
Sure.
It's just they do a little tour before the game. But at that point, I don't think anyone thought what I was doing was real, you know. I didn't really either. And then you get to go down on Lambeau Field. I mean, that's like that's the coolest thing.
What does it look like when a company, like an organization like the Packers, reaches out to you for something? Does it just come from a random email and you're like, well, hopefully this one's legit?
At that point, Julie, my friend Julie, just reached out, and I was like, she's now my friend. Then I didn't know her, and it said at Packers. I was like, oh, sweet. You know, you get real excited.
What's the biggest opportunity that you had to say no to that you still kick yourself that you had to say no to? And it could be just because you had other commitments somewhere else, but what's something you had to turn down that you're still bummed about?
Oof. I got asked if I wanted to go to the last Brewers game against the Cubs, but I was out of town.
Oh,
so that was a bummer. Is that the biggest one? I can't think. There's nothing huge that comes to mind, But I know there's stuff like that. Yeah, my brain's just not working very good today.
I'm grilling you too hard. Okay, let me get one more question out of you before you have to do this next commitment on your day. When you do something that you're passionate about for a living, such as comedy, you get to have really unique experiences that are very meaningful to you. You've shared a bunch already. Not financially driven, but they are what make all the hard work worth it. Can you share an experience like that for you?
Yeah, like something that just makes everything worth it. Is that what you're saying? I think, I mean, it would have to be like something like giving the commencement speech at UW.
Jeez Louise, I'm nervous.
It's just a thing that you're like, I don't deserve to be doing this, you know. I got imposter syndrome a little bit there, but then you write it, you know, and when you're writing it, you're like, oh yeah, this is good. And you almost find something out about yourself when you're writing it. And I think those are maybe the best things that you can write, when you find something about yourself. And that was cool. Like, one thing I do every morning is I just write just a full page, you know, in a big notebook, or like a few pages in a smaller notebook. But you just write, and you write to get like whatever thoughts out of your head, just out of your head. And it's a good thing for you mentally, you know, but also in doing that and allowing yourself to do that, you'll write one sentence or something that you're going to feel really good about. Maybe not. Either way, it's not a waste. But I started doing that a lot in writing the commencement speech, and I just, like, it was a process I really loved that I found. So I even forget your original question now, but I hope did that answer it somewhat, or did I?
No, it did, but I am curious. Are you ever planning or hoping to be a writer for something else, such as like I interviewed Beth Stelling a while back, and she did some stuff with Rick and Morty. Like, she wrote an episode of that. Are you ever going to try to write for any TV shows or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I've written some pilots, you know, before. They didn't end up getting picked up. Sure. But I like, writing is like, I'm already writing, you know what I mean? Like, I do something like that, but I'm that's not, I guess, like necessarily the kind of writing that I'm doing. I'm just trying to like keep more stand-up writing, you know, just more whatever, just stuff that I see and find interesting. It doesn't even need to fit into, like, I guess the dream wouldn't be to like write for a show necessarily. But when I say writing, I just mean like write stuff that makes people, like, I don't know, think and enjoy, or think different, or enjoy what they have, or see the world a little bit differently, you know?
So people need to come on your next tour, which is coming up real soon, to be able to hear all the jokes that come from all of these writings. What's the next tour you got coming up? It's starting in what, on the 7th or something?
Yeah, it's the Lost and Found tour. It starts up Tulsa, Oklahoma. Oh no, we're in Kansas City first, and then Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah, it's starting next week. So
and there's some Wisconsin dates on there, right?
Sure. Yeah, there are Wisconsin dates. We just did a bunch of Wisconsin dates, kind of the lead up to this tour. We call it the Working It Out tour, where we go, like, you know, test a bunch of material. So that's kind of a fun. We just got done as a 2-month run of shows. But yeah, we'll have more Wisconsin dates to come on the Lost and Found tour. But we're kind of going out around the country, and then we'll come back to Wisconsin, do a string of dates.
Perfect. Okay, so 2 things. One, I'm going to give you these headphones.
Oh, cool, man.
So those are yours. Those are new Dime
Evos.
Awesome. Because Skull Candy me.
Skull Candy ones, huh?
Yeah, I had one in my ear this morning, and Andrea looked at me, and she looked at my ear, and she was like, that looks pretty slick. And I was like, thanks, Charlie's getting them today. So where best, obviously, Charlie Berens, kind of anywhere, where best can people follow you, support you, and find out like all the dates and all that type of thing if they want to try to get to a show?
Yeah, it's all charlieberens.com and or manitowocmint.com, one of the two. You know,
and then go follow the Bellied Up Pod with you and Miles.
Yeah.
Go follow the Cripes Cast.
Yes. We're on a hiatus from the Cripes Cast, but follow that too. There will be more episodes coming out soon there.
Is there anything I missed of any of those? Are there any other platforms? I think that's all of them. YouTube.
Oh yeah, Berens Old Fashioned. Never mind.
No, you can talk about Berens Old Fashioned Brandy, and you got obviously the Watch for Deer. Tell your folks I says hi on the website. All the merchandise. Christmas is coming up.
Yeah, there
sooner
you go.
rather than later.
There you go.
So yeah, the quick plug. Well, thanks, Charlie. This was cool.
Hey.
I'm really glad we were able to make this happen.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Passion Pod. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you soon.